Your body and mind are mine now. Allow me to push your power past its limits.
I wouldn't try to get out of this. Not unless you want me upping the body count by a few hundred.
What's going on, everybody? Charles here, and today we're going to be breaking down the new incoming Legends Limited characters. We have Legends Limited Vegito, who turns into Super Saiyan Blue Vegito, and then we have LF Goku Black. Definitely not what I was expecting. I kind of feel like, they could have released, everybody was, expecting a fusing Goku Black and Samasu, and and some people were even speculating about a fusing Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Vegeta. And for whatever reason, they decided to just, we're just gonna skip that and just give the unit straight up to you. So at least for the Vegito side, right? Obviously Goku Black, he's only one half of the fusion, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to be breaking down both units in this video. So we're going to start off with Vegito. Let's see here. So he transforms into Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan during battle. Yep, we saw that. Alright, so number one new feature, auto counter nullification. Max out the unique gauge to nullify enemy auto counters and special cover changes. Can anyone say counter Majin Vegeta? Yeah, that's exactly who that was aiming for. After transforming, you can activate this effect again by using special arts, or if the unique gauge is full, by entering battle. Okay, we're gonna have to take a look at that. Hopefully it explains that further down. Number two, combo capabilities with max unique gauge. Additionally, filling the unique gauge to max will also nullify unfavorable element factors, card destruction effects, and key reduction effects. You'll be able to dish out. Yeah, so I do think, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, this Vegito was, he's green. So he'll be able to go type neutral against purples, which, I mean, I guess is pretty good, because sure, you still have some Ultimate Gohans running around, but he's kind of the only one. Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is basically not existent at this point. So, we'll see about that, I guess, right? Alright, so then we have number three, Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Transformation. Restores the vanishing gauge by 100% with the main ability. Plus, you'll recover 50 ki, gain 50% health, and if you have 3 or fewer cards, draw 2 cards. That's pretty good. 50% health? That's a lot. That is, and restores vanish gauge. Wow, that's pretty powerful. Draw cards, get key, and gain half your health back. Yeah, that's pretty good. Face down even the fiercest. Yeah, okay, cool. Alright, yep, so here, yeah, he says he's element green, Saiyan, future, Patara, fusion warrior, yep. Cool. And then he's going to be buffing future, fusion warrior, and god key, base strike and blast. Finally! They stop with these double defense Z abilities. Holy crap. It only took them like all year to do that. Alright, strike and blast, attack, and strike defense. Okay, cool. Alright, so next, strike arts have armor. Cool. So regular strike attack. Land a blast arts to... Is he a ranged character? Does it say? I don't remember. I thought he might have been, actually. I'm not sure. I'll have to take a look later. Okay. So land as blast arts to increase the damage. Okay, so they take 10% increased damage received for 10 timer counts. Alright. I wonder how that'll work out though. So obviously, you know, you have Ultra Majin Vegeta, and the only way you get extra damage with either of these cards is on the blast card, which he counters. But obviously Vegito has this auto nullification counter thing, so we'll have to take a look at that later on. Alright, so land this special move to greatly reduce enemies' ki. You'll even destroy their cards and reduce their Dragon Balls, making it even harder for them to counterattack. Cool. So 30% special move damage, and then applies the effects on hit. Destroys 3 cards, reduce enemy ki by 50, and reduce Dragon Ball. See, they haven't done this in a very, very long time. I feel like it's almost been since LF Vegeta Blue from the Future Trunks saga, where he would reduce the enemy's ki and their ki recovery. So it's like, cool, you know, you destroy 3 cards and reduce enemy ki by 50. Yeah, sure, it does help out in that split second, but if you're not going to do anything, or if the enemy doesn't switch, which almost all characters in the game now gain ki on entry, I mean, reducing ki by 50 isn't really going to hinder too much. Especially now where you have green cards that replenish ki by 50. So we'll have to see about that. Blast armor when charging forward, so it's a forward charging green card, or special move. Okay. Special move arts. Greatly reduce the enemy's health restoration, so use it against troublesome opponents that like to recover tons of health. Randomly draws 1 new card, restores own health by 15% and ki by 50. Wow, okay. Charges own unique gauge by 20%. 20% to damage inflicted for 15 counts. Shortens ally subcount by 1. And reduce health restoration by 50%. That's pretty good. Restores own health by 15% and ki by 50. I'll be interested in seeing if he has a way to draw green cards at all in his kit, because that's pretty powerful. I mean, you get a couple green cards and restore your health by 15%. That's pretty good. And 20% damage inflicted, and it doesn't say cannot be stacked, so I'm assuming that could be stacked. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I like that. Main ability, restore Vanish Gauge by 100%. Cool. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. Randomly draws at most 2 new cards when you have 3 or fewer cards. Restores own health by 50% and ki by 50. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, never mind. Restores own Vanish Gauge by 100%. Alright, cool. Cancels on attribute downgrades in abnormal conditions. Yeah, restoring ki by 50, or restoring ki and health by 50% is pretty crazy. And only 20 timer counts need to elapse, so that's pretty good, because you'll be able to get that off. I mean, you'll be able to transform pretty quickly, and if you've, taken any amount of damage with them, you'll basically be able to just heal it right back, right? So that's pretty good. Alright, so first unique ability. Boost your damage inflicted higher and higher by using Strike or Blast arts. Plus, for the first 30 timer counts of battle, Vegito has a buff that will nullify enemy special cover changes. So use that chance to go on the offense. So that's actually pretty solid. Wait. Nullify enemy special cover changes. Okay, cool. Yep. Note that if the enemy activates an auto counter or evade action, their ki will be reduced by 100 and all enemies' arts will increase by 20. Wow. Vegito is tremendously strong against auto counters. Yeah, so yeah, Majin Vegeta, yeah, he's, oh man. So I could imagine a world where everybody's running this Vegito with Triomite Goku, right? So reducing the ki by 100 and increasing the cost by 20. So you're basically going to be doing absolutely nothing. All right. Applies the following Following effects itself when battle starts. 150% damage inflicted. Okay. Let me take a look at something. Okay, yeah, so this is, I wanted to take a look at Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks to see what he started off at in terms of damage inflicted, being that he's our latest Legends Limited character. So he starts off at 140% damage inflicted. So, you know, power creep is we're already on our way to, yeah, I mean, that's 150% already. Jeez. Okay, so 150%. Yeah, why not? Reduces damage received by 70%. Okay, does he have the negative? We'll have to see if he has that reduced 10% damage, you know, impact damage thing. So, increases arch card draw speed by 1, -5 to arch cost. Cool. Applies buff effect. Nullifies enemy special cover changes for 30 timer counts. That's actually pretty good. And I think that also activates when he transforms, but we'll have to take a look at that. Alright, so the following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield. Restores own ki by 30. He gets another 80% damage inflicted, so we're up to 230. Inflicts all enemies with negative 15% strike and blast arts power. Okay. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade, -30% special move and ultimate art power. Okay. That's actually pretty good because even though the reason why it's good is because it doesn't occur on cover change, right? It occurs when he enters the battlefield. So a lot of times you have units, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but a lot of times their stuff either activates when they're on the battlefield. So when you're already on the battlefield and the enemy activates a certain card or whatever, then it gets reduced. But here, he inflicts all enemies with the attribute downgrade when he enters the battlefield. So that's actually pretty good. Applies the following effects to self every time this character uses a strike or blast arts card. Randomly draws one new card when you have 3 or fewer. So he already has card draw speed, and then he's gonna automatically draw a card when he uses one. And okay. Restores own ki by 10. And he already has -5 to arch cost, so effectively that's basically -15 to arch cost. So that's pretty solid. And then 15% damage inflicted for 10 timer counts. So every time he uses a card, so that stacks too. Wow, okay. Alright, so what? We're up to 245 every time he uses a card, basically, right? Even if you're at a standstill and you haven't done anything just yet, you're already gonna use a card is gonna be 245% damage inflicted, so that's pretty good. The following effects occur when the enemy activates auto counter or evade action. Or evade, okay, so that actually applies to Ultra UI Goku as well. Alright, let's see what it says here. Plus 50% to own unique gauge charge rate. Shortens ally sub count by 50, reduces enemy ki by 100, cancels enemies attribute upgrades and buff effects. Wow, okay. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 20. Oh, wow. Activation count is shared before and after. Okay. So it only activates once the whole match. I mean, it's pretty powerful just because obviously, you know, you have somebody like Ultra UI, you know, you just sit there and all you have to do is just evade, but he's basically going to cancel all your buffs, reduce your ki, increase your cost, so then you can't even do anything. Okay, I mean, I think that's a really good addition to the game right now. I think they kind of realize with Ultra Majin Vegeta that his gauge is just super toxic, right? I mean, just the simple fact that you can auto, when he jumps into the match and use a blast card, he's just gonna destroy you, right? So I think this is a good addition to the game, and I'm glad that they did this in a way because they're not hard countering him, right? Do I think Majin Vegeta is a little toxic? Yes. But is he so toxic that you can't do anything against him? No. Right? You do have, units like a Shin from the Majin Buu Saga team. You have Tree of Might Goku. You have defensive units like Turles, and things like that where with Turles, for instance, he can take those hits, right? Shin and Tree of Might Goku, when they use blast cards, they either reduce key or seal the special move cards. So, obviously, you're kind of handicapped to using those units, but at the same time, I think it's not so bad where they need to do like a LF cooler to Ultra Super Vegito, right? Where you know I think what Ultra Vegeta, Super Vegito was out for what, a month, and then they released Cooler, and just like hard counter, right? So I think this is a good way to introduce certain mechanics to the game without hard countering those units. And I say that because what you don't want to have happen is you have certain teams, right? So right now you have the Majin Buu Saga team, right? Super dominant. You also have Majin Vegeta on the movie setup, super dominant, right? What you don't want to have happen, for the game's sake, is to release a unit that hard counters the unit that you just released, and then it starts this whole cycle of you basically need to run this one team in order to basically do anything in PvP, right? I think a super healthy PvP environment has multiple teams in it that has multiple units, right? So you have, like this LF Vegito, basically LF Vegito Blue, right? You have Tree of Might Goku, you have LF Goku Black, who we'll take a look at in just a little bit, right? So you have multiple different teams that have multiple units that aren't the same units that everyone is using, right? So I think it's a good addition to the game, but we'll sorry for the rant there. So unique ability 2 has a special cover change against strikes. Cool. Unfavorable element factors for damage sustained will be nullified when Vegito is hit by an enemy's arts attack, and health will be restored as well. If Vegito's health is also reduced to 50% or below, when the unique gauge will be charged. Then the unique gauge will charge up by 50%. Sorry, one time only. Okay. Nullifies unfavorable element factors, auto counters, and special cover changes when you max out the unique gauge. Fill it up quick to start an oppressive offense. Okay, so it sounds like... Wow. I wonder if it refills, if he has a way to basically use a card or a certain action to get rid of the unique gauge and fill it back up, but we'll see. Knocks enemy back to long range. Okay, special move. The following effects occur every time when hit with an enemy's arts while this character is on the battlefield. Activates once. So these effects only activate once. Okay, cool. Restores own health by 10%. Nullifies own unfavorable element factors for damage sustained for 10 timer counts. So it goes type neutral for 10 timer counts. Shortens ally substitution count by 1. Okay, so that's not limited. Oh, wait. Okay, so all these only... Okay. So all these... Oh, they reset after character switch. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. put some health restoration. He's gaining a lot of health. He heals 50% on his main ability. When he takes a hit, he's healing 10%. Yeah, he's going to be healing a lot. His green card heals him by 15%. Yeah, okay, cool. The following effects occur if own health is 50% or below after being hit by an enemy's arts card. Well, this restores own health by 20%. Okay. So then, okay, wow. Charges own unique gauge by 50%. Inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade plus 30 to all arts costs for 5 timer counts. Oh, inflicts enemy, not all enemies. I think I said all enemies. Okay. I mean, that's pretty good. I mean, sort of, I guess. You know, if you have to, if you switch while your arts costs are, you know, higher, then it doesn't really do anything. Because it's not like he's reducing your key. He does appear by 20, but you know that's on the first hit, right? So it, you know, does it matter that much? Not really, but I think that's pretty solid though. Slightly charges own unique gauge every time this character uses an arts card while they are on the battlefield. Slightly charges. Let's take a look. Okay, so I wanted to take a look to see who had the same wording as slightly charges. So this is Ultra Super Saiyan Rose, Goku Black, and he has the wording slightly charges here. So, okay, so he basically has Goku Black's unique gauge, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, that took like 10 cards. I do believe 10 cards to activate. But with LF Vegito Blue, he does have ways to increase his own gauge, you know, with his health falling below a certain percentage and things like that. So, all right, so let's keep going. Slightly charges own unique gauge every time. Yep, we read that. Applies the following effects to self once. Draws at most 4 new cards. If you have 3 or fewer cards, restores own health by 30%. Increases card draw speed. So he's going to have double card draw speed when his gauge is full. Okay. Nullifies unfavorable element factors for 5 timer counts. So he's going to go type neutral. Applies buff effect. Nullifies enemies destroy card effects. Nullifies enemy reduce key. Nullifies enemies... Oh, auto counter, evade, and special actions for 10 timer counts. Yeah, that's pretty powerful. So he's going to heal himself. So, I mean, it is going to take a bit, assuming that you're not at below 50% health when you're able to get this effect. But so you fall below 50% health, right? You're going to heal 20%. And then you're going to charge your unique gauge by 50%. And then what? So you basically only have to use 4 or 5 cards after that to get this. And you're going to have double card draw speed. Okay. Yeah, this is yeah, then you're going to nullify special cover change. Okay. I mean, yeah, so I think looking at this, it sounds like and it looks like you're not really going to have a hard time filling up his gauge, but we're just going to have to take a look at that when he comes out. The following effects occur when enemy activates an ultimate arts, awaken arts, or rising rush while this character is on the battlefield. Activates 3 times. Shorten ally sub count by 5. Cancels enemies, attribute, upgrades, and buff effects. Finally. So we've had a couple of units that, you know, they reduce sub count, And they have these effects that revolve around the enemy activating their ultimate arts, or Rising Rush, even, but they don't remove buff effects. So that's pretty good. The only units that have done that so far, to my knowledge, are Ultimate Gohan and Evil Boo. So, yeah, that's very powerful. Very powerful. I'm glad that they added that, because just with everybody, being able to Rising Rush, so now you have, you still have fusing Super Vegito running around, right? And then you have, well, I was gonna say Glorio, but who's using Glorio right now? Yeah, I think it's just Super Vegito. Really, that's in the meta right now that can kill you on Rising Rush. So to have another unit, especially a green unit, I mean that really helps a lot. So that's good. I like that. All right, so this is all when he transforms into Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. It's got blast armor, so that doesn't change. Okay, so this changes. Plus 50% special move damage inflicted for 3 timer counts. Nullify enemies, restore health when it reaches 0. Applies a reduced ki by 50. So I think that goes up from here. Yeah, so up here it was only 30%, so it goes up to 50%. And then it has additional effects. So this is destroy 3 cards, reduce ki by 50, and reduce Dragon Balls by 1. Down here, oh, I scrolled past it, sorry. Here we have 50% special move damage, nullifies endurance, reduces ki by 50, reduces Dragon Balls by 1, and destroys all cards. So that's pretty good. I like that. The special arts can now nullify enemy auto counter and special move cover changes. Okay, cool. So let's see. The following effects occur upon activation. Restore own health by 15% and ki by 50, so that's the same. Charges own unique gauge by 20%, plus 20% damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. I think that's the same. This looks to be the same. Actually, the difference here is, so they added this little bit here at the end. The following effects occur on hit. Randomly draw 1 new card, minus 50%, but it's comboable now. So in its pre-transformed state, it's probably just a stop time card. Yeah. So this is probably just a stop time. And it doesn't have the extra effects. It's not comboable. So then we go here. The following effects occur on hit. Yeah, so this is okay. So this is a comboable. Okay. All right, cool. I like it. Like the pre-transformed state, pre-transformation, restore vanish gauge by 100. You get uncancelable buff to damage inflicted and even draw. Yeah, so I think so far he's only at so let's take a look at his damage really quick. So he's getting, starting off with 150. He's got plus 180, so he's at 230. Let's see. 230. Yes, so he's only at 230% damage inflicted in his pre-transformed state. Obviously, he has ways of getting extra damage, but they're they're cancelable. So, all right, so let's take a look. So he restores health by 30% on main ability and ki by 50, plus 20% damage inflicted. Cancels own attribute downgrades in abnormal conditions. Seals enemies awaken arts. Ultimate and awaken arts. These sealed arts cannot be used for 5 timer counts. Okay, cool. Alright. Alright, so first unique ability when he's transformed into Vegito Blue. If the unique gauge is full when you enter the battlefield, nullify unfavorable element factors, card destruction effects, and key reduction. Transforming will buff Vegito's offense and defense, such as by adding the ability to draw cards when you use a strike or blast cards if you have 3 or fewer, or reducing impact, explode, and slice damage received. Okay, so there's what we were looking for, that reduced impact, explode, and slice damage. So it only applies when he's transformed. Which actually isn't bad because he's able to transform after 20 timer counts, right? So that's not too bad. Alright, so applies the following effects to self after transforming. Plus 30% damage inflicted, 60% key recovery, and reduces impact, explode, and slice damage received by 15%. So that's actually pretty solid. I think Turles, if I'm not mistaken, is 10%. I think Ultra Majin Vegeta is 15%. So him having 15%, and you have to remember, this Vegito is a transforming unit. So if you recall, a unit like Red Beast Gohan, I mean his stats went through the roof when he transformed, right? So obviously we won't know what his stats are going to be until he comes out tonight, where we will be able to look at his stats. But I like this so far. So he's going to be having, what did I say before? 230% damage inflicted. So now he's at 260. Alright, so the following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield or transforms. Restores ki by 30, and reducing the same things that he did before. The strike arts power, blast arts power, and the special move and all that. Also applies the following effects itself. If unique gauge is full, nullifies unfavorable element factors, so he's going to be going type neutral, and nullifying card destruction effects, reduce key effects, and nullifying special cover change and auto counters. So that's pretty good. Applies the following effects to self. Every time this character uses a strike or blast arts card, restores ki by 10%. So that's the same as before, plus 50% damage for 10 timer counts. So that's the same. Let's see. The following effects. Yeah, so basically it's the same unique ability as before, where he's with the auto counter, reducing enemy ki by 100 and increasing their cost by 20. So let's move on to unique ability 2. If you're hit by an enemy's, get an additional reduction to impact, explode, and slice damage. Okay, man, this guy's gonna be tanky. Knocks enemy back against their strike arts cost. Sorry. The following effects occur every time when hit. Restores health by 10%. Nullifies unfavorable element factors. Reduce ki by 20. Also reduces impact, explode, and slice damage received by 15% for 5 timer counts if unique gauge is full. Man, so he's going to have 30% reduced damage from impact, explode, and slice damage, which is like basically all damage in the game. Man, this guy's... I'll be interested in seeing what his defensive stats are, because we already know how crazy that is to even have 10%, right? So you take a look at Ultra Turles's defenses. I think at 14 stars max arts boosted, he's almost at 200k defenses with only 10% reduced impact, damage, and all that. So Vegito Blue is gonna have 30% reduced damage against all that damage. I mean, it is for 5 timer counts, but still, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, all right, let's move on. The following effects occur if own health is 50% or below. Restores own health by 20%. Charges own unique gauge by 50%. Inflicts enemy attribute. Okay. I think that's the same if I'm not mistaken as before, but slightly charges own unique gauge every time this character uses an arts card. So remember that slightly charges own unique gauge is the same wording as Ultra Goku Black Rose. So you're gonna need to use 10 cards, I believe, to fully charge the unique gauge, assuming that you haven't gotten to below 50% health, right? So let's see, slightly charges and then activates when full. Restores health by 30%. Yeah, so I think this is all the same. Yeah, this is all the same. So yeah, I think this second unique ability is a shared unique ability. So that's why it's the same. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean he looks pretty solid. I mean, man, this right here, this section right here is crazy. 30%. He's gonna have 30% reduced impact, explode, and slice damage for 5 timer counts. Wow. Every time he's hit, too, when he's transformed. Wow. Yeah, Vegito Blue is gonna be looking pretty darn good. I mean, he's got a lot of damage. He actually doesn't have a ton of damage, but he has different ways to get up to, above 300% damage inflicted, right? He's got the 70% reduced damage, obviously, and then the 15% at all times reduced impact, slice, and explode damage. So I think he's looking pretty good. We're going to move on to LF Goku Black. Alright, so here we have LF Goku Black. Man, I think I was probably more disappointed in this unit than I was in Vegito Blue. Only because I was really hoping that they were going to release the synchro gauge again with Goku Black and Zamasu fusing into Fused Zamasu, right? Half corrupted or whatever. That would have been great, but for whatever reason they decided to give us another LF Goku Black, which obviously it's great, we'll take it, but I have to say I'm pretty disappointed, but we'll take a look to see what this guy does, and see if he has any redeeming qualities, right? Alright, so he does have a new mechanic, so no special cover changing. For 15 timer counts after battle starts, as well as when you max out the unique gauge, enemies will be prevented from special cover changing. That means any character will be able to go on the offense without having to worry about enemies' special cover changes. Not only that, but it's an effect that can't be canceled with cancel abnormal condition effects. Okay. I wonder, so when they say prevent special cover changing, is that the I don't think that's the UI effect, right? That's just, oh, no special cover changing. Okay, so it's just that no matter what, they're not going to be able to cover change. It doesn't activate or anything. It doesn't get canceled or whatever. Well, it probably does get canceled, but it's not the UI cover change effect that I, for whatever reason, thought it might be. Okay. Use the main ability to transform and get a big boost to damage inflicted. Remember, this guy is a defense type, so obviously we won't be able to tell what his stats are going to be like until he releases, but I mean, Turles does a ton of damage after he transforms, so maybe he'll have maybe he'll be pretty good, but we'll just have to wait and see, right? Alright, so plus this ability grants a buff that nullifies enemy special cover changes, making it easy to use in the middle of a combo. Excellent defensive abilities. Goku Black has a unique gauge that charges each time this character is hit by an enemy's arts. Max it out to destroy enemies' cards and reduce their ki. Plus, activate an endurance effect and destroy your opponent's entire hand when health reaches 0. Okay, so he does have endurance, which works out perfectly because Vegito Blue has the effect that he cancels enemy buff effects when they use a Rising Rush or an Ultimate Art. So that's pretty good. Yes, he is element yellow, so I think it's safe to say that Ultra Gogeta 4 is basically going to be non-existent now. And I mean, it's wow. I mean, maybe even Ultimate Gohan. It just depends too. I mean, you have multiple yellow units now. You have Majin Vegeta. You have this Goku Black. You have Tree of Might Goku. I mean, wow. We're purple units are really hurting right now. Alright, so let's see what he buffs with his Z ability. We have Strike and Blast Defense and 18% future strike attack. Alright, so at least we're one of two, right? So Vegito buffs both offenses, which is, it feels like it's been forever since we've had a main unit buff any type of offense, right? You had Turles buffing double defenses, Tree of Might Goku buffs double defense, LF Gotenks buffs double defense. Who else? There was one more, Ultimate Gohan buffs double. Did I say him already? I don't remember. Yeah, so it's I'll take it. I mean, all this double defense Z ability thing is kind of getting old, but anyway. Has a strike card that reduces enemy's health restoration on hit. Okay. Blast. So both strike and blast arts restores own health and reduces health restoration. Okay. So that's different. Okay. Inflict the enemy with heavy bleed on hit. If the unique gauge is full, you'll even nullify endurance effects. Okay. And this is before he transforms, right? Yeah. Okay. So deals massive explode damage, 30% damage, 100% to inflict heavy bleed. If unique gauge is full, resets own unique gauge to 0 and the following effects occur upon activation. Plus 30% to special move, so he'll have 60% special move damage if the unique gauge is full. And he'll nullify endurance and inflict all enemies with negative 30% health restoration. So that's pretty good. Alright. Special moves, or special arts rather. Oh yeah, so as we saw in the video, this is basically LF Gogeta Blue from the Broly movie. This is his green card basically, but just better. So in the video, you saw him basically nullify the strike arts like Gogeta Blue does. But here you have, he has extra effects. So he restores health by 10%, which I don't remember what Gogeta Blue his did. Nullifies unfavorable element factor. So he goes type neutral. And then, so the thing that's different here is reduces enemy vanish gauge to 0%. So you basically you're gonna force them to switch, number one, if they can. Oh wait, inflicts all enemies with 3 subcounts. Wow, wow. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of toxic, man. I mean, granted, you have to actually get off the green card, right? So you have to, be able to time it. But that's pretty good. 30% damage inflicted. Reduce their vanish gauge to 0. Reduce their ki by 100 and inflict them with 3 subcounts. Wow, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Alright, so main ability. Transform into Super Saiyan Rose, restore a bunch of health and ki. All right, so we're just gonna read the white text here from now on. I think, we'll go back and forth. Transform into Super Saiyan Rose. Restore health by 30% and ki by 50. Applies buff effect, nullifies enemy special actions that activate. So he's gonna nullify special cover change, and cancels own attribute downgrade and abnormal conditions. All right, cool. Unique ability 1: inflict all enemies with no special cover changing at battle start. Goku Black has incredible defenses just by entering the battlefield. Nullify unfavorable element factors for damage sustained. Get a reduction to impact and slice damage received. And reduce all enemy special move, ultimate, and awaken arts power. If the enemy uses an ultimate arts, awaken arts, or rising rush while Goku Black is on the battlefield, cancel enemies' buff effects. You'll be able to use this character to withstand your opponent's biggest attacks. You know, I'll be interested in seeing how many times this activates, because you also have Vegito Blue. He also cancels enemies' buff effects when they activate a Rising Rush or an Ultimate Art. So I'll be interested in seeing that. Wow. So I could actually see a world where you would actually run Majin Vegeta on a future setup with both Vegito and this Goku Black, because Goku Black removes buff effects on Ultimate Arts or Rising Rush. You have Vegito, who also does the same thing, and then you have Majin Vegeta with Endurance. So yeah, I think I think they just created a new team that still features Majin Vegeta, unfortunately. But all right, we'll keep on going. All right, so Goku Black also gets 150% damage inflicted, reduces damage by 70%, 70% to ki recovery. That's notable because Vegito Blue actually, I don't think he gets ki recovery until he transforms, and he gets 60%. All right, so he also gets card draw speed, -5 to arts cost, and inflicts all enemies with no special cover changing for 15 timer counts. That looks like it can be canceled though. So, well, I mean, how are you going to cancel it, right? I mean, you do have ways to cancel buff effects with certain cards, but that's pretty powerful though. I like that a lot. The following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield. Randomly draws one new card when you have 3 or fewer cards. Oh, so when he enters the battlefield, he's going to draw a card, heal by 15%, restore ki by 30, 70% damage inflicted, reduce impact and slice damage by 10% for 10 timer counts. Why not just make that permanent? Why only limit that to 10 timer counts for a defensive unit? All right, you know what? It's the first unique ability. Let's keep on going. Maybe it'll be uncancelable later, right? All right, so right now he's at 220% damage inflicted. Inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade -20% to special move, ultimate, and awaken arts power for 15 timer counts. Okay. Applies the following effects itself upon landing a strike, arts, or blast arts hit. Activates once. Restores ki by 30. 30% damage inflicted for 10 timer counts. And resets after on switch. Cancels enemies' buff effects when they, ultimate arts or rising rush. Activates twice. Okay. Activation count is shared before and after. Okay, cool. Unique ability 2. He has a cover change against strike. Recover 20% of the damage received when the enemy attack is over. If your health reaches 0, activate an endurance effect and destroy all of your opponent's cards. The unique gauge will be charged greatly whenever Goku Black is hit with an enemy's arts attack when it's fully charged. The unique gauge will be charged greatly whenever Goku Black is hit with an enemy arts attack. When it's fully charged, inflict all enemies with no special cover changing. Okay. Knocks enemy back to long range if a cover changes. Okay, so yeah. The following effects occur when own health reaches 0. Recover 30%. Cancels attribute downgrades in abnormal conditions. Destroy all of your enemy's cards. Okay. Activation count is shared before and after. Okay. Okay. That makes sense. So regardless of whether so let's just say for the sake of argument, you have this activate when before you transform, it's gonna be gone. You don't get this again. So because it's shared between his transformed states. So you just have to keep that in mind if you decide to throw him in against a rush or anything like that. Alright, so greatly charges own unique gauge every time when hit. Greatly charges. Greatly charges. So I wanted to pull up another character, Super Baby 2, because I think he has the same wording. Let's take a look. Yeah, so greatly charges own unique gauge every time when hit. So I think Super Baby 2's gauge activates after 3 cards, or I think it's like a special move and 1 card after or something like that. So yeah, Goku Black is gonna have the same unique gauge as Super Baby 2. Okay, so the following effects occur once unique gauge is full. Restores own health by 20%, shortens ally sub count by 2, randomly destroys 2 enemy cards, reduces enemy ki by 50, inflicts all enemies with no special cover changing for 15 timer counts. But this is when he's getting hit, right? So unless you can gain priority, which, obviously you can, it's not really going to matter, I feel like, so much. Because it's not like you're reducing their vanished gauge to 0 and locking them in or something like that to be able to go on the offensive. So you're just going to destroy their cards, reduce their ki, and inflict no special cover change. Oh, inflicts all enemies with no special cover changing for 15 timer counts. Ah, so that's the important thing there. Inflicts all enemies with no special cover changing. So even if let's just say you switch and you go on the offensive, even if the other person tries a cover change, they won't be able to do so because all enemies have been afflicted with it. That'll be interesting to see how that works out. Okay, so the following effects occur when enemy switches characters while this character is on the battlefield. Restores own health by 5%. I think Super Saiyan Rose has that too. Restores own health by 5% every time he faces an enemy. Inflict enemy with attribute downgrade plus 10% to all arts costs. Inflicts enemies with attribute downgrade -1 to card draw speed. Okay, that's pretty cool. Applies the following effects itself after enemy attack is over. Restores 20% of damage received plus 30% damage inflicted for 15 timer counts. So that's pretty cool that he's able to restore damage as a defensive unit. It'll be interesting to see if he has anything else in his kit that he recovers health. So this is once he transforms into Super Saiyan Rose. He basically just gets extreme bleed on hit. 100% to inflict extreme bleed, and it has blast armor. Blast arts seem to be the same, plus 10% to damage received on the enemy. The special move card. Okay, so restore the vanished gauge by 100%, Upon activating special move arts, you'll now nullify enemy endurance effect even when the unique gauge isn't full as well. Okay. So before in his untransformed state, he needed to have the unique gauge full in order to nullify endurance on the blue card. Now he doesn't need it. Alright, that's pretty good. Plus 30% special move damage, restores Vanish gauge by 100%, activates once, nullifies enemies restore health when it reaches 0. Oh, for 3 timer counts. Okay. I mean, this kind of just sets up the scenario where, you know, if the enemy is like the last man standing and you vanished, and you know, you use the blue card, you can regain your vanish and be able to vanish again to, you know, be able to knock off the enemy. So that's pretty good. Applies the following effects to enemy on hit. Inflicts attribute downgrade plus 10 to all arts cost for 20 timer counts. 100% to inflict extreme bleed. If unique gauge is full, resets own unique gauge to 0, and the following effects occur. So another 30% special move damage. So the same thing as before, basically. So he gets another 30% damage on the special move card, so 60%. That's pretty good. Green card, gain buff effect that nullifies enemy special cover changes on hit. When the unique gauge is at max, restore own health and shorten the sub count of your allies. Applies the following effects to self upon activation. Draw a card, restore ki by 50. The following effects occur on hit. Wait. So is this green card not the same as the one before? Hold on. No, so it's completely different. So he has a completely different green card. Okay. So is this a forward charging? No, it's not. Okay. So this must be a long range green card? We'll have to look. The following effects occur on hit: plus 20% damage inflicted for 5 counts. Nullifies enemy special cover change for 10 timer counts. Inflicts enemy with attribute downgrade minus 50% to health restoration. If unique gauge is full, resets own unique gauge to 0. Restores health by 10%. Minus 15% to enemy sustained damage cut. That's pretty good. And shortens ally sub count by 2. I like that it... Oops, sorry. I like that it, you gain the sustained damage cut effect. That's pretty good. Plus 20% damage? Yeah. That's... Oh, man. And minus 50%? Yeah. This is a really strong green card. It's really strong. Okay, so main ability. Charge unique gauge by 100% and nullify unfavorable element factors. Draw a special move arts card next. Restore own health by 20% and ki by 50. Charges on unique gauge by 100%. Cancels own attribute downgrades abnormal conditions. Nullifies own unfavorable element factors for 10 timer counts. So restores health by 20% and goes type neutral. Alright. Get a large buff to damage inflicted when you transform, and also reduce all enemies' health restoration by 50%. Don't give your opponent any chance to get back into the fight. The following effects occur after transforming. Plus 40% to damage inflicted. So he was at 220 before, so now he's at 260, plus 130% to ki recovery. That's crazy. And plus 20% to own health restoration for 30 timer counts. Yeah, plus 130% to key recovery. That's if any of you guys remember using Ultra Z Broly, you realize you know how strong that is. I think he had 150%, and I don't think a unit has had that since Broly. So him having 130% is actually pretty darn good. The following effects occur when this character enters the battlefield. Randomly draws one new card, restores own health by 15%. Activation count is shared before and after. Okay. So it doesn't you don't get a fresh activations. It's all shared. Okay. Restores on health by 30 or restores on key by 30. Reduces impact and slice damage received by 10. Why not make that permanent? I don't get it. He's a defensive unit. Why not just make it permanent? Alright. Applies the following effects to self upon landing a strike or blast arts hit. Restores own key by 30. Is that every time? Oh, activates once. Okay. Plus 40% damage inflicted for 10 timer counts. Alright. And then he cancels buff effects on Rising Rush or Ultimate and reduces sub count. Ally sub count, right? Shortens own sub count by 5 when enemy. Okay. Alright, so unique ability 2. After transforming, this character will have a special cover change against blast arts instead of strike. Filling up the unique gauge to max will now nullify unfavorable element factors for damage sustained and reduce your opponent's Dragon Balls. Alright, so the blast arts is combo with a blue card. The following effects occur. So this is the same endurance effect here. Greatly charges own unique gauge every time when hit. Restores health by 25%. I think that goes up a little bit. Yeah, so it does go up a bit. So up here it was greatly charges, or not greatly charges, I'm sorry. Restores own health by 20%. And down here, it's restores own health by 25%. So it goes up slightly. So that's pretty good. He goes type neutral for damage sustained. So against red units, which the only red unit out right now is Gotenks, but you know. Randomly destroys 2 enemy cards, reduces enemy key by 50, reduces Dragon Balls by 1, activates twice, and inflicts all enemies with no special cover changing. It's gonna be fun to see how that mechanic works, especially against Majin Vegeta. I wonder. I'm pretty sure his gauge will still activate, even though it says no special cover changing, because it's his gauge and not a special cover change necessarily. So I'll be interested in seeing that. I'm going to test that out actually. The following effects occur when enemy switches characters while this character's on. So it restores. So it's the same thing as before. Restores health, inflicts -1 to card draw speed. Applies the following effects itself after enemy attack is over. 20% damage received, restores. Okay. Yeah, so I think these two guys they seem really good. I'm trying to be kind of excited about it. It's just tough, man, because I think me personally, I was looking forward to a Synchro Gauge, Goku Black, Zamasu fusing, and I didn't get that, right? So, overall, though, I think these guys are really, really solid, and they'll play off of each other very well, especially with Goku Black having endurance and being able to nullify, or not nullify, but cancel buff effects. when the enemy activates the ultimate and the Rising Rush, and Vegito can do the same thing. So I think they'll play really well off of each other, especially if you have another unit like a Majin Vegeta who has endurance. Um, you can switch out to Vegito or Goku Black. So I think we're on the right track. I look forward to more future buffs. I think this is definitely a good way to get everything started for future. Um, we'll just have to see how these two units look when they come out in the download tonight, what their stats are looking like, right? So, especially with Goku Black, I mean, why not make this right here? Where is it? Um, it's up here. This right here reduces impact and slice damage received by 10% for only 10 timer counts. He's a defensive unit. I mean, I get that he's deleting buffs when the enemy uses an ultimate or a rising rush, but like, he's a defensive unit. And you gave Vegito minus 15% uncancelable, and then he gets another 15% uncancelable on top of that. So for 5 timer counts, still, yeah, but it ends up being minus 30% to impact, slice, and explode damage. So we'll just have to see. Obviously he is a transforming unit, so maybe that is why. Typically, transforming units have a much higher stat spread than other typical like defensive units, like a Turles, for instance, right? Where I mean, his defenses are pretty high, almost 200k to both. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's a good start for future. I think we'll just have to wait and see what these guys are looking like, and we'll have another 2 to 3 weeks to see what comes out in part 2. But yeah, I think I'll be doing a summoning video later on, and yeah, I think we're off to a good start for the Legends Fest. Although kind of disappointed, but I do think aside from that these two guys are very solid. So hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one.